Today on the show, well, there's blood on the pillars. There's a drunk Victorian boy with a gun. There's Kroger's chili. I think I see, Ziggy, you have some chili on your vest there.
Yeah, it gets stuck under there.
Yeah. And hey, we've got some new allies to help us snag a worm or get back to House Borgine, whatever's going on. We're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Indeed we are.
Once again. Roll for that drunk child giving someone the gun so he's not continuing to wave it around.
Roll to persuade the drunk child to give up the gun.
Is there a die high enough to persuade this boy
There's
to give us
not.
the gun? Welcome to Gom Jabbar, your guide to the iconic world of Dune. We'll be exploring the themes, philosophies, and characters found in the sandy depths of this vast universe, from Frank Herbert's groundbreaking novels to the adaptations on film and TV. My name is Ziggy Circa, a.k.a. Abu.
My name is Razik Prosody, a.k.a. Leo.
And welcome back, folks, to the next act of our Dune D&D adventures, Dungeons of Dune. We are continuing the story after a bloody Act 3. Things got rough back there fighting those Fagin.
Yeah.
My God. I'm glad we survived. We're on the other side of it. And the adventure continues today. But before we hop back in with our Dungeon Master Noah, let's take care of some housekeeping.
First up, spoiler warning, this takes place after the events of Dune and before Dune Messiah. So best if you've read those two books, but ultimately this is an original story, folks. You're not going to find this written on any book anywhere. We are coming up with it in the moment. That's the nature of the game. So for spoilers today, best if you've read the first two books.
That's right. And of course, up top, a huge shout out to our Kwisatz Haderach level patrons, Daniel Dion and Seth Redden Greer. Folks, I'd hand you a Mala pistol no matter how drunk you were. Because I know you're going to be safe with it.
Yeah.
You are responsible adults, I assume. And
Maybe.
I believe you'll handle it better than the young lord.
And your Kwisatz Haderach level patrons, I mean, listen, if you're not going to be safe with it, that's your right. Damn it.
That is your right. That is your God-given, podcast-given right to wield this Mala pistol. Of course, our heartfelt thank yous and our gratitude extends to all of our patrons at every level who help make this show possible. But y'all don't get guns, just the
We haven't added it officially to the list of benefits, but that is one of them.
The revolution starts here.
The revolution starts here. Also, combined with our Minotaurus Atreides joke about you get to maybe take down the Duke, this really starts getting more and more dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if you are not in a place through subscription fatigue or whatever to be a monthly supporter of Gom Jabbar via Patreon, you can also support us with a one-time tip if the budget allows over at Buy Me a Coffee. That link is also in the show notes, and that also makes a huge difference as we continue to make this thing that we love.
That's right. So here's the game plan for today's episode. Before we jump back in and continue with our adventure, we're actually going to get to know Noah a little bit. They've been on the show with us for 4 episodes now, and we haven't even introduced who they are and how we know them and what they're up to. So we're going to do a little bit of that, get to know our dungeon master. But then, of course, folks, we're going to jump right back into the story with Ziggy, with Razik, with the young lord and his gun, and continue our adventure. So all of that is coming up after a short break. Stick around. We'll see you in a minute.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed your break. Yeah, let's take a moment. Let's talk to Noah, our dungeon master. Noah, how's it going?
I'm doing so well. Again, I just keep loading up on spice. It is extending my life.
You really got to stop doing that maybe before these recordings. Is that helping?
My eyes, they're so blue. You guys aren't seeing the video, but I got the eyes of a bod, if you know what I mean.
Hello.
Yes, I'm honored to be here.
All right. Noah, before we jump back into Act 4 and continue this amazing journey that we've been having, we want to get to know you a little bit and introduce you to our listeners. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your history with Dune? What's your history with D&D? We know you have a podcast as well. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, you are correct on all those fronts. My name is Noah Perito. I am the DM, the Dungeon Master of Try Not to Die. It is a Dungeons & Dragons podcast. You can get it anywhere. It is a part of the lovely, lovely Lore Party Network.
I've heard of them.
I have questions about Dune. Let's start with Dune, because that's what we're here for, Dune. I have loved Dune for many years. My father introduced the books to me. He has like the old versions with this really beautiful artwork. I wonder if maybe at some point I can try and remember what like the artwork edition it was, but we're talking like early within those first few rounds of buying it. He's had it since he was like a teen. And
cool.
I borrowed them, and honestly, I read them during lockdown. Like I had heard of Dune and had loved the lore of Dune before I got to read it. And then I just delved deep during lockdown and got to know the entire series. And then, because undoubtedly, once you finish Dune, you're like, well, where's my spice? I need more Dune content. And I stumbled upon Gom Jabbar, and I was blown away by both the two of you, your chemistry, and your knowledge. So that kind of threw me deeper into the Duneverse. I have since, I'm now in the process of re-listening to the books just because I'm like, I haven't done an audiobook version of it. I want to hear how these things are pronounced. I want to hear how they tell the story like this. What way did I read it? Which way did they read it? And I'm obviously a huge fan of the films that have just come out. I am stunned and blown away by the world building that was put by Denis. I think that he's done a fantastic job, both bringing what is in the books to life and also putting a little spin on it to make it his own. It's amazing and honestly huge inspiration for a lot of the stuff that I've been creating for Try Not to Die as well, because we're doing like a kind of spacefaring or otherworldly sort of campaign right now, and it's just so inspiring to see the kind of visuals and lore being demonstrated so beautifully. So that's how I got to here. I loved Dune so much, and I loved Gom Jabbar so much that I asked to join your network to pitch the show to you guys, and it was the best decision I've made in the past.
Well, I'm curious what your history with Dungeons and Dragons is as well. Is this something that you have been playing since you were a kid? Is this a new hobby that you picked up? And why be a dungeon master? It seems like such a challenging job, right? You're really crafting this story for us. Like Leo and I are just following your lead, and you've done a stunning job. So it's clearly something you're really great at.
Well, I would be remiss not to immediately thank you for such a generous compliment. I have not been DMing my whole life. I started around 2017. I found a really good podcast, Not Another D&D Podcast, which starred some people who were on like College Humor. They were doing comedy, and it was like comedians playing D&D. And I, having just like released an album as a musician at heart, I was like, I'm looking for a new creative endeavor. Saw them doing this show and was inspired by that type of storytelling, the kind of storytelling that somehow is predictable and unpredictable, where you can write something that follows the tropes and follows stories and heroes' journeys that you've heard before, but does it in a way that is unexpected or referential to things we already know and love, or even just is fresh in a way that is because you were expecting a different story to be told, and this one's the one that's getting told. Yeah. And I was like, I want to make stuff like that. So I got invested in D&D and like TTRPGs, tabletop role-playing games. I had friends at the time who were like, yeah, that seems cool. My co-host and best friend, Lisa, was like, I love this idea. I want to do this with you. We can write music for the show together. And the rest is history. I used to play some like fun games on the side with people in those early days when I was coming into it. But when 2020 hit and Lisa and I and our friend at the time, Shane, who was joining us for that first part of the campaign, we were like, let's just do this together. Let's make a bubble and let's play. And yeah, it's been a blast. And since then, we've had, my lovely fiance on the show, who I obviously dragged into the D&D world. And it's just been a blast to connect with people who, love fantasy, love sci-fi, but then also see the value in like unexpected improvisational storytelling and how the kind of things that you want to be told may be told in a way that you weren't expecting. And I find that really beautiful.
I was going to say, first of all, just amazing work so far. Again, we're going to keep piling on these compliments, but ultimately, no, it's really fun to watch you work, and it's been fun to kind of continue, and I can't wait to continue today. But I do like what you're saying about coming from music and this idea of there's music, there's like the planned performance of music. There's jazz, where it's really a conversation with the other musicians, and you're kind of live in the moment. But even in jazz, very seldom do you say, well, I'm going to play this lick. And then someone goes, pause, before you play that lick, roll a die. And then you roll a 1. And they go, actually, you don't get to play that lick, and your guitar bursts into flames. So there's something very, it's something that I'm also coming to love from the player's perspective of like, yeah, you have intentionality. And everyone can make a decision that we're going to go after this thing. And then that can fail, or that can go a different direction. And even beyond the planning of the DM. So like all of this it's very cool, and I can see where maybe that's a very different type of creativity than what you've done before.
Absolutely. It touches upon something that I think that everyone, creative and non-creative people, need to be embracing, which is that failure isn't necessarily always a bad thing. It teaches you a lot, and it can create something that's far more beautiful and far more like profound than you would have initially planned. I mean, like, I have written a lot of music. I've written stuff that I'll never release into the world that I was so proud of. And now looking back at, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
What sort of emo 17-year-old put pen to paper and brought this to life? But like I look back at the podcast, there are moments in our first campaign, which it's a doozy. Anyone who's interested in listening, we have 3 campaigns. We're in our 3rd one right now. The first one is 100 episodes. It is an epic. Wow. There were so many moments in that campaign where I had to just throw everything out the window and redo like what I was planning and maybe long-term plot things. I was like, okay, well, those remain intact, but everything that I had planned for this story arc, gone. We have to redo it.
Right.
And I'm just going to improv it.
And then of that many episodes.
Like it's wild to see how that unfolds, and it created something that I don't think I could have ever predicted. Like the choices also of players. I mean, that's a whole other factor. It's in a lot of ways you're pointing to jazz is brilliant because I rely on players to surprise and confound me and to create these incredible stories. Like it's a lot of work to build and write out all these things, but it makes it so worth it when you encounter brilliant players like you guys or like Lisa or my fiance or anybody who I've played with who's passionate about the game. It will always bring something that is so refreshing and beautiful that I could have never predicted. Even where I'm like, I think I have the most beautiful story point. It's like, no, you don't. And whatever will come out will be for the best. And that's also, I'll parallel this to Dune a little bit. The concept of like prescience and like holding on to a path for so long that it becomes real. Like I feel like D&D or any TTRPG that involves, chance and choice, it really, really it teaches you lessons about that and like how you really don't know what's coming. And like if you could, maybe you'd be able to see the story at play here, but that story is only really told in hindsight. You just have to make choices and see what happens.
Embrace the unknown, embrace chaos. Yeah, absolutely. Some Dune lessons in there as well. Okay, one last question for you, and then we'll jump into Act 4 and get back into our story. You were talking about inspiration earlier. You were talking about creativity earlier. Obviously, you're a very creative person. You have these creative outlets. So I'm just kind of curious, what or who inspires you? What gets those creative juices flowing for you? What do you do when you're not obsessing over Dune or Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, that's tough because that's a lot of my life. Well,
the 2 or 3 minutes a week that you're not, obsessing over Dune.
I'm not obsessing over Dune and D&D. Okay. So I wake up, I go to the bathroom. No, I would say that I try and like incorporate 3 different things into the creative process. So when it comes to my music and stuff like that, I have no limits here. I'm listening to like N95 by Kendrick while also listening to like Newfound Glory while also listening to like Mozart masses, because I have been exposed to a lot of music. So I listen to a lot of different things, and that can help inspire the music that I write for the show. Like literally, I was at Pride last year. I heard a club song. I was like, that would be a great battle song. What were the chords of that? What's the rhythm? And like deconstructing things and rebuilding them from that. So
so sick.
When it comes to music, I like nothing is off the table. Anything can bring me inspiration. When it comes to like content, like people who create content, obviously from the Duneverse, I'm inspired by you guys. I'm inspired by Denis. I find Frank's work incredibly inspiring. I'm in the middle of God Emperor again, and I am like, oh God, this is so crazy. Like, how did you come up with this? My mind is, I say this to my fiance every day. I'm like, I feel like I'm reopening pathways in my brain that I didn't know were there. But that's an obvious plug for you listeners who are already obsessed with Dune. So I would, I'll shout out the author N.K. Jemisin, who wrote
the Broken Earth trilogy.
Yes, I recommend the Broken Earth trilogy. I think that heavily inspired me from a writing standpoint. I also, and this is crazy, I'm going to plug Going Outside. This is a wild thing.
What?
Like,
into the world?
I know.
No,
into the world. I know. This is where I'm written off by everyone. People are like, shut this off. This drivel.
Boo this man.
Boo.
But
that's
real,
where birds are.
The best thing I can say is that like I'm constantly creating. I'm constantly writing things down. I'm constantly composing something. My fiance can attest to that. I'm doing too much. The thing that makes my work good is stepping away, going outside, and like going for a walk of some sort. Or even just like, let's say if you're someone who's like, I'm not physically able to walk, or like I'm in an area that doesn't really, it's not really safe for me to be walking around. I understand that. Even just like turning your attention to the outside world and watching it for a period of time without trying to do something else. Just watch as things fall into place. Watch how a bird moves. Watch how that person went into that store at that time and you're witnessing it. Like breaking down reality for a moment and just appreciating the mechanisms at work can really, really help you when you're creating something. It can help you take a step back and go like, all right, let me think about this from like an actual like making this thing and not from a how does it fit into this mold, or like how can I make people enjoy this? Like just taking an appreciation of how things are can really help with that.
Yeah, wise
Great
words.
advice. Yeah. As much as we were joking about it, it's like in the world of acting, that's also what a lot of actors talk about, where they live a whole life. And the more you live, the more life you see, the more that can inform your work. And also the number of great actors who've come from lives that are not acting and then bring that experience to the screen. It's like, so yeah, very, very wise. Yeah, great to hear.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Well, it was lovely to get to know you a little bit.
Touch grass. Touch grass. Losers.
Touch grass.
What are you doing?
Well, Noah, thank you so much for telling us a little bit about yourself. It was lovely to get to know you, and it's been lovely to go on this journey with you in these last couple of episodes. Let's take another quick break, and then when we come back, we'll jump right back into the story and carry on with Act 4 of our adventure.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed your break. Well, I am so excited to get back to rolling dice, trying our best not to die, try not to die indeed. And we are, last I recall, we were in this room. We just watched a child blow a chunk of a man's head off while he was
execution style.
I have a permit for this.
Yes, correction.
Yeah. The doctor certainly didn't have a major hand in killing that man, for sure. We're gonna say the record
I'm here to
shows.
heal.
He's here to heal with his Kroger's chili potions. So yeah, we're back with Noah. Noah, where are we at? What's going on?
Well, the two of you, joined by your young lord, Benedict Borgine, now stand in this bloody meeting chamber with the three remaining Silagos, Kivi Vori Tuek, and then, of course, your best bullies for life, Lishad and Chalak.
BBL.
The
Love 'em.
two, yeah, that's what that stands for.
That's what that stands for.
The two of them are like classic meathead style. They're just like talking to each other and like laughing and like poking the bodies with their blades and like looting them for anything interesting, while Kivi looks to the two of you and goes, "Thank you. You may have some unorthodox methods, Doctor, but they seem successful."
I'm here to serve, as I was taught in school.
And as you exchange that, you see Kivi gives you a nod and then turns to you, Razak, and kind of pulls you aside and goes, "So, really though, who are these people? Why are they here?"
As I understand it, they are, well, he's a doctor, he's a soup doctor, and they're with House Borgine. I don't know. Is this related at all to our mission? Is this the house that hired us? What can you tell me?
Ziggy, why don't you give me a perception check to see if you can
Okay.
hear this conversation? Otherwise, it's going to be whispered. You won't be able to hear.
Okay.
You won't know anything the two of them are talking about.
I'd love to perceive this conversation for the record.
God, nothing I'd like more than to perceive that thing.
Oh no, it doesn't look like I will though. I rolled a 6 and I have a +3 bonus to perception, so a 9.
Okay. With a 9, I think you do try and listen into this conversation, but you are immediately pulled away by the Lord who goes, "Please, my hand, Doctor, my hand."
yes,
You see
yes,
literally
let me
a
bandage it.
perfect scorch mark from where the Mala pistol backfired into his hand. "Please."
Let me bandage it, Lord. Come here.
All right, you begin to bandage and assist the young lord, who looks completely unfazed about having assisted unaliving this individual, while you, Razak, are pulled to the side with Kivi Vori Tuek, who goes, "You're sure that is the young lord Benedict Borgine?"
I am. There was a guard, their downed ship, with an identifying badge that he's a guard of House Borgine. So I know that guard was guarding someone, and this doctor will not shut up about my lord this, my lord that. Like, this kid is clearly a pampered. I don't know 100%, but I'm in the high 90s that this is the Lord Benedict Borgine.
You both look over at the two of them, the Lord Benedict being treated for this scorch mark on his hand, heavily bandaged. He goes, "Oh, I could really use a nice glass of Pinot Noir right now. Doctor, did you bring any?" And while they're having that moment, she pulls your attention again.
Yeah.
"My understanding is that the guild wishes to use Borgine, their world, as a new home for this little maker."
Wow. Okay, holy shit. All right. I'm glad I've helped them stay alive.
You have done an excellent work here. I cannot thank you enough for keeping them alive. I mean, and she takes a look over at them. "I don't want to be doing this forever.
Yeah.
I'm sure you don't also. If we can pull this off, Gamant, Tusik, you name it, we go."
All right. Sounds good to me. The kid has some holes in him, but he seems to be up and about now.
He does. Now that I'm getting a closer look, I am seeing he is injured. But that does not take much away from your feet here. So thank you.
Of course.
It does complicate things to bring him to the spacing port. Well, the plan remains the same. My understanding is that the Little Maker is just a chamber away.
Okay.
Did you manage to get any of the suspensor pads? I have a few. Perhaps together we'd be able to do something with them.
I have enough. I've used a single charge of some of them, but I believe they have a few charges left. And,
They should be good for the journey, you think? Okay.
So we have those. Yeah.
Okay. if we can successfully subdue and remove the worm, we can bring it to the spacing ports. Perhaps along the way we can lose the young lord. Maybe, does he have anywhere he needs to go or something? I mean, I don't...
He wants to get wine from the marketplace, so maybe we can send...
Okay.
Maybe we can send the doctor and the lord to the marketplace.
This is going to be tricky.
Or if there's like a wine store, that would be
I'm
a
sure
moth
that
to
we
a
can
flame.
find. There's got to be something. I mean,
Yeah.
okay. Well, we'll work with them to get out of here.
Yeah.
We'll see them on their way. And, well, when those Solaris are deposited in our account, you and me can take the next ship off here.
Sounds like a plan, Kiwi. I'm with you all the way.
What are you guys talking about? And Chad comes over and drapes his arms around your shoulder.
Oh, hey,
Are we planning a Gamont trip?
You know it, buddy.
Hell yeah! Slaps you on the back, nearly knocking you over.
Oh, I'm so glad you survived.
Me too. I'm really glad that out of all of those incredible friends that we lost today, I'm really glad that the two of you have made it here. Keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
She nods to you, and your group begins to head towards the tall archway on the opposite side of this room. The young lord is now bandaged thoroughly, and you help him to his feet, Ziggy. He goes, "Thank you, Doctor. I am so grateful to have you in my employ. Do you think, are these others, should I bring them into the team?"
I don't know what the Borgine budget looks like, my lord. I'm not privy to that information, but you and I have now been talking about my compensation, and of course it's ultimately up to you. But I certainly would love to have a conversation about my compensation before we consider bringing on other retainers.
Well, I'm glad that we just talked about it. So now that we can think about those retainers you were also just talking about. So, all of you! And these smugglers turn to the Lord. You have been blessed by the presence of the famed young lord of House Borgine. Thank you. Hold your applause. I said hold it, Ziggy.
Oh, sorry.
You may now applaud. Right. So,
Anyway.
we are honored to be working for you, young lord. Yes, you are. I don't know how much you know about what we're doing here. Of course, I know exactly what's happening here. We're getting me a delightful bottle of spice beer or spice wine. I don't know which they have. I will take both if it is an option. And see, he goes, right, okay, so he thinks this is a wine tour. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
kind of just passive with resistance. Yeah.
Yes, that's you get it, Razek. You get it.
Yeah.
Yes. So this wine tour is going to continue. We're going to take you through the next chamber. I advise that you don't touch anything. Feel free to look around. This is where the spice wine is made. And, just don't touch anything.
In this dark cavern?
Yeah. Have you worked in my employ for all of these years, Ziggy, and you don't know about how lovely a cave-aged wine is?
You're right, my lord. You're right.
Yeah.
There's something
The
delightful
cooler
about this.
temperature, it does something to the flavor.
I'm sure it does. Onward! And you see the young lord begins to march forward with his mala pistol now back in hand. He somehow got it again. The smugglers look to each other and then look at the two of you.
All right, let's go. Let's go before he trips any more traps.
Razek, I assume this is the exit. We're getting out of here.
This
With
is
your
the
friends
way.
who will lead the way.
Yeah, we're gonna do our best to get you to where you're going. Just down this hallway. I mean, unless you want to go back to the spike pit.
No,
that's
not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
So this is going to be
a traumatic. I'll be having nightmares about that the rest of my life, actually.
Honestly, same. You two disappeared like that. It wasn't the best for me either. Was like my main mission, keep you alive.
Yeah.
Boom, you were gone.
Okay.
It was
Yeah. All right. I trust you, man. And I give you like a overly friendly pat on the shoulder. Yeah. And it's quite clear that I'm starting to consider you a friend. I'm forming a bond. I'm getting attached to all of you on this adventure.
And for what it's worth, you're doing a good job keeping the Lord alive. I utter sympathy for you. I'm sure
Thank
it's
you.
the position of a lifetime, but
Yeah.
it's not
Thank
the best. And again, clearly, it's like, happy to. I think I'm with Kiwi. If Kiwi's like, let's ditch him, I'm like, yeah, let's ditch him. But I'm like, for what it's worth, yeah, there's a real camaraderie to having dealing with this wine-loving, gun-waving lunatic who appears to be a child but is clearly an adult as well.
Clearly an adult. Yeah, personally, I'm quite relieved to hear someone actually acknowledge what it's like working with House Borgine. And internally, I am beginning to wonder if there's another career path. If I can make it out of this whole mess alive at the end of this, maybe it's time I will move on.
Yeah,
From
are you
a cozy
sure you even
employment and make
want to
something
be
of
helping
myself.
this kid? I mean, I have questions about how your ship why did your ship hit that Coriolis? I mean, that seems like a bad time to launch a shuttle.
Uh-huh.
You're doing okay with your boss? I feel like if my boss sent me into a Coriolis storm on a shuttle,
Yeah. I'm starting to... Those are all excellent points, Razak. I'm questioning what's next for me in this life, if we make it out of this alive.
Together, you follow after your motley crew, exiting this meeting chamber and heading through this dimly lit tunnel. You begin to walk for quite some time and see beautiful carvings across all of these walls, petroglyphs of the terraforming of Dune, a foretold paradise that could come to this world. You see tableaus of this planet and its people's history, the glow globes illuminating just how long these people have been here and how they may have arrived. You see that it opens to a space that you would recognize to be a reservoir, this large open chamber. It's like trapezoidal in shape, with the path leading through and over these large pools of water. You know that much water has been gathered here, using various traps to draw in moisture, the very little moisture that exists here on Dune. You know that, like many others, many basins are being tapped to start actually terraforming this planet. This one seems to be a quite deep well that has not been tapped yet. But you pass through it, admiring the work as you stealthily move into the final chamber on the other side of this room. And as you enter, you see it is reminiscent of a nursery. In the center of this hexagonal room, down a set of solid stone stairs, are two pits. The first on the left is filled with the orange-red grains of the desert just outside of this space. To the right is a shallow pool of water fed from the basin that you had just passed through. Set down a few set of steps as well. Pillars at the corner of each of this hexagonal space carry your eyes upward towards the vaulted ceilings covered in scripture and more of these beautiful, beautiful tableaus. You recognize Jacobsa, but you're not necessarily quite sure without additional analysis what these lines could be saying. But you do see amongst them carvings of sandworms intertwining and engulfing each other, depictions of smaller creatures coming together, small worms becoming larger, the story of this world's ecology. Spice sparkles in the divots of this artwork, almost used to gild these pieces while also perfuming the room with its cinnamon smell. A single glow globe in the center of the ceiling casts its eerie glow upon the space, further emphasizing that this temple has been maintained in secret for quite some time. Immediately upon entry, Lishad and Chalak, their eyes go wide at the sparkles that lie in the divots of this art, and they're like, fucking sick, dude. The jackpot. And they pull out little chisels and start just immediately chiseling away at this beautiful ancient artwork as Kiwi comes in, ignoring them, begins to survey the space and look around. What do the three of you, counting the Lord, do?
First, so I'm focusing on the sand. I want to know if there's any kind of movement in the sand. Like, is the worm here? Is the Little Maker here? And as I'm also looking at the sand, I'm kind of like peripherally glancing around, seeing if there's like another way out or like another doorway.
Okay. While you do that, I'm going to have you roll a perception check. Ziggy, is there anything you would like to do?
I'm actually going to... I'm quite awed by the beauty of this chamber. I did not realize Arrakis held such secrets. And I'm going to rush over to Lashad and tell the boys to stop. I'm going to be like, guys, stop.
What? What's your fucking problem, bro?
You're breaking all... Look at the beautiful writing on the walls here. You're damaging this chamber. We don't know if there might be traps or danger. Y'all need to just follow Kiwi's lead. She's the boss, right?
Why don't you give me a persuasion check? I'm going to tell you the DC is a little difficult. It's going to be 12 that you have to beat.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So I'm going to roll my persuasion check. I've rolled a 19. I have a -1 on persuasion. So ultimately, I'm sitting at an 18.
Even though you may not be the most charismatic man, you draw their attention away from what they're doing enough for Kiwi to take note. And upon prompting what you say that they should follow her lead, they look to her and she goes, "This isn't even why we're here, boys. Focus up." And her eyes also go to the sandpit. And you have prevented them from further damaging this structure, which is fantastic. That's very beautiful.
That was my goal.
And what did you get on your perception check?
Rolled a 10 plus 2 is 12.
Okay. With a 12, here's what I can tell you.
Okay.
First and foremost, I'll address the obvious question. There is no movement in the sandpit, at least not yet. Seems still, but you do see that there are lines of movement in here. They're like divots. There's no wind or Coriolis storms to sweep away the sand after use here. So you immediately detect that there clearly has been some movement in these sand pits. Whether that's from someone entering them or a worm moving around within them, you're not quite sure with a 12.
Okay.
I will also add, though, that with a 12, your eyes look up at the scripture woven between these beautiful illustrations of worms, their life cycle, and the world of Dune. And I'm going to let you roll a history check, and I'll let you roll with advantage as you begin to analyze the Jacobsa written there.
Okay. Let's roll 1. That's a 10, and then let's roll again. 14. So it's a 14 with advantage. 14 plus 1 is a 15.
15 is the exact DC you needed to know every single line here.
Okay.
Now, a lot of this is just general scripture, just like prophecy about the Lisan al-Gaib and the legend in which you are now very familiar with as it has become reality in this world. But that isn't what interests you. Your eyes trace the words that are follow where the vaulted ceiling meets these pillars. There's a single phrase that traces around, and it looks to be almost like a poem. You translate it to mean, brave the sands with open hands and find that which you seek. Shai Hulud is merciful to the clever and the meek. Bow your head in reverence or lose it with the proud. Peace and patience as you leave. Stay hidden by the shroud.
Peace and patience as you leave. Okay.
I will gladly repeat that at any moment, but that's what your first analysis is. You see these lines that differentiate themselves from scripture. This is not something that would be in, the Orange Catholic Bible or whatever new lore is being dropped about Muad'Dib. This is something that is relevant to this temple specifically, almost like instructions.
Yeah.
Because it also occurs to me as I'm reading that it's not guaranteed. It seems like the two bullies might not have seen that. It seems like the young lord doesn't know anything about that probably. Ziggy also might be distracted, with the two guys. So I'm also realizing this might be something that pretty much me, like that I'm aware of, but maybe not many other people in the room.
Yes, I would say that Kiwi is like, inspecting the room for traps. She's kind of doing that first pass clear that Ziggy, so wise, so full of wisdom, recommended they wait for her to do, essentially. So she's like, her mind isn't looking at the scripture. She's not looking for codes to crack or whatever. She's like, is this safe? Then let's identify where the worm is. She, you can tell, presumes it's somewhere in the pit, even though there's no movement there.
So I think with this information, I want to get Kiwi's attention. She's kind of away from, so the two guys and Ziggy are next to each other. Is she kind of, can I get kind of a moment with her where they can't hear us if we're talking?
You could certainly try. We'll have them roll another perception check to see if anyone can hear it.
Okay. As I read that poem, and it sort of starts to kind of, as I'm thinking about it and trying to understand what each line means, I'm going to kind of make my way casually in the direction of Kiwi. And then once I'm kind of, again, casually, not intentionally seeking her out to draw attention, I'm going to kind of like, hey, Kiwi, I have a...
What, babe? I'm working.
Wow, okay, now you're throwing that word around. Oh, sure. Well, I think I might have seen something that's important for what we're doing here, but I'm not sure if we want to tell. Well, I just want to make sure you know this before we try anything, okay?
She gives a nod and looks to you, kind of not trying to stir any attention from them. Well, I'm going to have them quickly roll a perception check, and we'll see if they end up hearing what you're going to say next.
Does that include me as well, or just...
Yes, you can roll as well for a perception check, actually, if you want to hear this. They rolled a 13. They don't add anything to this. Where I was like, you can roll a deception check to try and keep them from hearing this. And this number will be the number you have to beat, Ziggy.
Oh, my God. Jesus. Ziggy's
I
out here
rolled...
with some ears.
With my bonus of +3 on perception, my total that I rolled is 21.
So that's the number I have to beat to keep him from hearing
to
me?
keep him from hearing it. You can still keep these two goons from hearing it, at least, if you don't beat that number.
How hot is it in this chamber?
I would say that it's a little warm in this chamber.
Uh-oh. Here we go. I rolled a 16 with a +6. Brings it to 22.
Oh my God!
I am so good at whispering. The best whisperer.
You are so good at this. Lishad and
So
Shalak
good.
do not notice this at all. They are now back to just like fooling around and looking at the chamber. And Ziggy, I think that you do notice that they're having a conversation again, and you do go to kind of try and tune your awareness to it. But you have to keep on trying to stop these two buffoons from ruining the beautiful artwork here. And that keeps you from fully being able to absorb the conversation.
Okay.
What do you share with Kiwi?
So, Kiwi, I'm seeing a poem along the top, and it translates to brave the sands with open hands to find which you seek. I think that means we have to be in the pit with our hands open. Without maybe tools, so that we're free to use our hands. It says, Shai-Hulud is merciful to the clever and the meek. Maybe not being too aggressive. I'm not quite sure on that line. Bow your head in reverence or lose it with the proud seems very clear that we should be maybe bowed or subservient or something like that. Peace and patience as you leave. Stay hidden in the shroud. We'll get to that. I don't know. Bowing our heads to Shai-Hulud seems like a real risk. Do we want to try to send one of these two guys and have them risk life and limb? You're the boss. I wouldn't want to put one of your assets in danger.
Say less. It's one person we have to cut with. Hey, Chalak, quickly. Yeah, boss. Just lumbers over this big dude. So, I've always liked you, and I've always trusted you. And I know you have the finesse required for this kind of role. Your strength, unparalleled.
I think I'm gonna help sell it. I'm gonna be like, no, he's terrible. Let me do it. Come on,
Oh, it's a good point. I mean, you are incredibly capable. Razak,
you saw me take down that Fadakin. I mean, I can handle this.
No.
Kiwi.
I got this. and he pushes you out of the way. Before she can even give instructions to him, leaps into the sand and just lands there. He's like, all right, where is it? Where's the worm? And you see Lord Benedict goes, worm?
Worm?
Am I going to see a real-life worm? Is this like with the tequila, where they put the thing inside the tequila bottle? Do they put real worms inside the wine here? That would be spectacular, Doctor.
Can I motion to Ziggy also to like hold the Lord, make sure he's not in the sand pit?
Like this is how you know Razik and I are becoming friends. I was just about to say I reach out and I just grab the back of the young lord's coat just to make sure he takes a couple steps back, so he's standing just behind me a little bit.
Fine, I'll let him ride first.
Yes, let the professional go first, young lord. Let's just watch.
Yes, our guide will show us how it's done, and then we'll behead him for cutting in front of me, and then I will ride upon the worm.
Mm-hmm. I tighten my grip on his coat just a little bit.
Okay, so very interesting to kind of persuade this individual to be the first one to go. Everybody roll initiative. Let's see how this goes.
All right, 17.
10.
So the smugglers rolled lower than you guys. Let's see what the young lord rolls, just to be safe. Oh, good, a 10. Okay, good. So I'm going to say that the young lord is going to go on your turn as well, Ziggy. I think that's only fair. In fact, we should just keep him on your initiative from now on, as he seems to always be evading you. Okay, Razi, you're going to be up first, but I assume you're not acting in this moment. You're just letting things go as they go.
If I have a chance to act, what do I know before I choose whether or not to act?
Time slows for a moment as Chilak stands in this pit at the ready, eyes tracing the sand, looking. His feet have sunk in just a bit. And you watch as, in a flash of movement, sand flickers and something rockets out towards his face. You technically can react in this moment. You and this creature, the Little Maker, have rolled the same initiative. This scaled, kind of beige, silvery worm that shoots out, just open maw with these jagged, needle-like teeth, looking to immediately consume whatever creature has stepped into its ring.
I don't particularly care if this dude dies, but I do care that if I have a chance to get our mission succeeded, I wanna take it. I have this spell, the level 1 spell Sleep, which I don't know if that would work on a worm.
You know, the way the spell works is that you cast it, and then we roll 5d8, and if that number exceeds the 8, like how much HP the creature has, they go unconscious. They're asleep. So, in theory, you could roll high enough to put this worm to sleep. And if you wanted to flavor in universe, you could, I would say, one of two things. You can go with the obvious and say you pull out like a dart, you know, just some sort of weapon that's like tipped with some sort of sedative. Or, and I would say that like that's fine. That's something you carry on your person for exactly this kind of moment. Or you could play music if you wanted to. I wouldn't be like...
Yeah, you do have your balisette because it survived the crash.
It survived the crash. So you, in theory, could, if you wanted to be like, flavor it like I'm trying to soothe this beast with music, you can also try that.
So I'm going to, in the flat, I see this creature beginning to surface and rocketing. I see this, time is slowed. In a desperate attempt that I really hope works, because it's going to look really stupid if it doesn't, I pull my balisette off my back, and I go to strike some harmonics that I know resonate in this very calming frequency, which I hope that vibrations, which I hope the sandworm, being so attuned to vibrations, even in the air, will be stunning it and kind of knocking it out and putting it to sleep.
Is that an 808?
I also recognize, I know this is actually Campfire. What's the song by Childish Gambino? So I'm going to attempt to knock out the worm, understanding also that if I fuck this up, then this guy probably dies. But He'll hear some beautiful music before he goes. So I'm going to attempt to cast sleep.
I want to say you can also cast this at a higher level. So if you're like, I want to add more D8s to make sure that this thing goes unconscious, you can be like, I'm going to use one of my third levels, essentially, to really cast. Because you have 2 third levels, you could upcast this.
At this point, you're playing Freebird. All of it.
Yes.
But slowly and very calmly. And everyone's like, whoa, is that... sleep?
Is that free worm? As he's distracted momentarily.
I'm going to cast it at level 2.
Okay.
Because naturally I don't know where this day is going. And I only have 2 third level casts. So I will cast it at level 2. And I guess that means that roll an additional for each level. So it's 1 additional D8.
Perfect. So you're going to roll 6 D8 instead of 5 D8.
Okay, here we go. So I'm going to roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 68. Okay. Here we go. Let's see if the worm responds to my dulcet tones.
Come on.
Oh, that's not a lot. 28.
Okay. It's a little maker. Let's not forget.
It's a little maker.
It's a little maker. This creature has 30 HP.
Oh no!
You are just too short.
Oh my goodness.
It's warm. It's warm in here, guys. I forgot the fucking words to free worm. All right, I'm sorry.
It, for a moment, does seem to work, though. You watch as this creature, rears up in air, is striking towards Sherlock, and there's a moment where its head swivels in your direction, and it almost misses this next attack, but unfortunately for Sherlock, does not miss, and is going to deal some serious damage. That was such a good play. I want to take a moment to say, really so
really
close.
Excellent.
Sherlock is still injured from before. He had 10 HP out of 20. You guys didn't take a short rest. You guys didn't heal anybody. He just got dealt 8 plus 3 damage. So you watch as this worm just puts its whole mouth over Sherlock's head, who stumbles back, falling out of the pit, writhing and grabbing at the massive worm that wriggles atop of him, biting and sinking its teeth deeper, blood gushing as Sherlock goes limp, lying there. This worm writhing atop of him, tearing at the flesh. It is now next in the initiative. Sherlock is dead, and it is now Ziggy's turn. Ziggy, you watch as this worm leaps from the sand and latches onto this man's head and practically tears it from the neck.
God, like that one movie I saw, AVP. Jesus Christ.
My God.
I quietly put my battle set back. I'm like, no one noticed.
He puts her hand on the shoulder and goes that was actually really good. It sounded beautiful.
Didn't work, but
I don't want you to be discouraged.
I liked it.
You are incredibly talented. And honestly, one less guy we got to split it with. As the worm writhes on top of him.
I am terrified, I will say. Here's what I'll argue. My conditioning stops me from taking human life. It does not stop me from trying to combat a creature that maybe I'm in danger with. So I do feel like I'm free to attack in a situation like this, where
yes, I think you can use an aggressive reaction to this. Even you maybe right before a finishing blow, you might hesitate, but you would be able to attack this creature.
Yeah, it's self-defense, certainly.
Yes.
I have some self-interest here. And it's not a human life. We're not facing a human. We're facing down what appears to be one of the legendary worms of Arrakis. What the fuck?
Oh, God. Everyone's just horrified by the violence. Oh.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do, actually. Rasa, can you remind me of your current HP number?
I'm at 22.
I'm at 21 personally, but I feel like I, for one, will not be wrestling with this creature. So,
despite your rippling muscles, I probably shouldn't wrestle this creature.
Right. I'm like All Might, just absolutely shredded.
Lat flexing on the fucking worm.
I have one more use of the golden nectar, my healing. So I'm going to rush over to Rozek in a panic. I'm going to whisper, "Good job with the song, buddy. I really thought that was going to work."
Thanks. Yeah, I'll try again maybe.
And I'm going to pop the cork on the last bit of the nectar, the golden, lovely nectar, and I'm going to give it to Rozek, and I'm going to say, "I think you need this more than I do, bud. Drink the last of this. Get us out of here. We need to protect the young lord."
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and roll for that. So on my die on the 1d6, I rolled a 6 with a +3. I heal Rozek for 9 HP.
You healed him for max. Incredible. 9 HP. That is quite a powerful brew. The moment this delicious golden liquor hits your lips, Rozek, you feel better. And though maybe his other methods brought doubt to your mind of maybe the quality of Suk school training at this point, this one elixir, which you feel almost begin to assist in clotting the wounds and like stopping the bleeding that you have experienced from your injuries, this proves to you that he's the real deal. This doctor is a doctor, and when he does it right, he does it right.
Yeah. And I'm going to be totally transparent. What's left at the bottom of this bottle is frankly just strawberry, kiwi, Capri Sun. Whatever other mixtures were here have long gone.
Just the healthy pieces were floating at the top, and now this is just backwash.
You're like, this is the mother, like the thing in like apple cider vinegar that you or kombucha that you have to make the rest of it from. It's like the crumbs at the bottom, the sludge that you're like,
the dregs.
It doesn't taste that good there, but it'll make something really good. This Capri Sun, this Capri Sun kombucha is gonna blow your mind.
Yeah.
So you are healed.
Okay.
That is your action. Is there anything you want to do with your movement, or if you have a bonus action, Ziggy, if there's anything you want to do, you have free range. You are still kind of barely holding on to the young lord who, despite seeing a man die in front of him, is like, I get to go next. I already called dibs.
God.
Everyone back up. Quickly,
Okay.
while he's eating this man's face, I'll get upon his back.
All of my bonus actions require key points, which I am now out of. That was the last bit of potion I have left. I don't have any more uses of that until I rest up at some point, which presumably I can't do in the middle of a worm attack.
You need an hour to do that, so definitely need to wait.
So
hope it keeps
honestly,
eating him for an hour.
It doesn't look like I am able to do any other moves with the actions I have left at this point.
That is going to be your turn. That is going to move us down the initiative order. The smugglers now, of course, leap into action. Kiwi, seeing one of her allies fully killed by this worm, she is still a bit shocked, even though she did kind of think it might happen. She runs around to one side and is getting into position to like help attach suspensors to it so you can move it when the time comes. This is basically her giving advantage to whatever you want to do next, Rozek, okay?
Do we, as a question, because naturally we have the suspensors, but my assumption is the worm, even suspensed, would still be able to move and react in things.
Yes. You are correct that you want to immobilize or subdue this creature before you put the suspensors on, or at least before you try and get it out of here by any means.
Yeah. Okay.
She is essentially setting you up to have advantage on whatever your next big choice is. That's going to be her turn. Leshad is not nearly that elegant. He's going to run forward and attack this creature, because that is... Bro! Just runs forward. Is going to roll. Let's see. That's a 14. That's a 14, which naturally, even without a bonus, is going to hit. So he's going to deal a d6 of damage. He deals 6 damage. This creature now has 24 hit points as he swings his blade out, slicing into the very, very tightly packed scales of this worm, and it just barely cuts into it, and you see this flicker of blue liquid that immediately gets your attention. Ziggy. You think of the poisons, the water of life, the potential of whatever this creature contains. But that is going to be his turn. He deals that damage, and we are back at the top of the round with the worm and with you, Rozek. So, Rozek, I'm going to let you act first. You have advantage on whatever you choose here. If you were to do something that advantage wouldn't help with, we'll reinvent how that helps, but it's your choice. What would you like to do?
You know, I just took this swig of this incredible liquid. I'm going, wow, I guess the diamond on his forehead wasn't sarcastic. I'm going to do it again. I have the balisette. Kiwi said that really nice thing. It was great. It almost worked. I saw in the moment before it latched onto his face a moment of it recognizing and it almost working. So I'm like, okay, I'm invigorated from this brew. Kiwi is in a position to help me out here. I'm going to go full 3rd level sleep, which is going to give me 7 d8s.
Okay.
And we're going to see what I roll. And I have to beat the health of the worm?
That's right. It currently has 24 HP. If you roll higher than that, well, we will see what happens. But it will be in your favor.
Okay.
And I'll say that the advantage will manifest as like a reroll of a low number if you don't happen to put this creature to sleep. You know, normally I wouldn't do that, but in this case, I'm having an ally use their whole turn to help you. Sure. She sees that you pull out the battle set and goes, oh, we're still, okay. And it's just like...
The rhythm to free worm.
Starts doing a little rhythm with her hands.
It's very almost lulls me to sleep. I'm like, oh, okay, wait, no,
focus up.
All right, here we go. Oh, okay. Jesus, that was really. I rolled a 2, a 5, a 1, a 5, an 8, and some other things, but it all came together to 27.
Oh my goodness. You know, here's the thing. It's hard to put anyone to sleep in the first measure of a lullaby, but as you continue to play, you watch as this worm goes from feasting upon Chalak to pausing, raising up, and turning its attention towards you. Give me a performance check.
I will say, I've got a fucking number that helps on performance. I've got a +9. +9 performance. My Trusic training. But we'll see. Maybe I'll critical fail here. Let's see. Okay, I rolled an 8. +9 is 17.
You watch as the worm, like a snake, charmed, begins to move slowly towards you, rocking back and forth. And as it does, you watch as it kind of pauses. It doesn't go limp per se, but it almost goes into like a state of dormancy. It seems entranced by the music that you play. And as you continue to play, you see Kiwi like gestures, keep playing, and then looks to you, Ziggy, and looks to Chalak and like pulls out these suspensor pads, these little hexagonal pieces of metal, and tosses several to you and several to him, and you catch them. And we're gonna do a group animal handling check here to put these on the creature, rousing it from this trance that you've put it in with your music. I'll tell you right now, the DC is gonna be 15, but you're going to have advantage on this animal handling check, Ziggy, because everyone is helping you.
Nice. Excellent. Okay. I will say we dissected a lot of frogs in Souk School training, so I have a +3 on animal handling. I got a nice little bonus here. So let me do that roll. Let's see.
Okay.
I may
have advantage.
Okay, so on the first attempt, I totaled a 5, and that's including my +3. So really, I rolled a 2.
Okay, so you need to be 15. So we're
you weren't paying attention.
There's still a little ways to go. I might have missed the frog dissection.
It was a lot of frogs.
A lot of frogs, but that doesn't mean I got to all of those classes.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, we is the class. I wasn't there.
Right.
I mean, I was saying that
was
the
royal.
That was the syllabus.
Anyone who maybe goes through the Souk School education system.
I'll also add to this that if you wanted to give a bardic inspiration at this moment, I would allow that.
Okay.
if you have any left. I believe you used 2 because you gave 1 and then you did a flourish. You should have 3, I think.
Okay.
I believe I have 1 left.
Okay.
And maybe seeing the possibility of this guy who skipped the fucking frog classes, and I see how nervous and weird he's getting. I'm like, okay, let me just really put some extra oomph into my Balisette playing, into my free worm performance, and we're gonna give a bardic inspiration to whatever Abu rolls next.
Okay.
So,
excellent.
Abu, this is your last chance. Ziggy, you have one last roll. You're trying to beat a 15. You can add a D8 to this roll after you've rolled it. So
Okay.
It's like a frog.
It's like a frog with fewer legs.
It's like a frog. I'm letting the music course through
It's more
me.
like a tadpole, I suppose, but that's it. I shouldn't be debating this. I'll keep my rhythm.
Keep the rhythm. Let the music flow through me.
Keep the rhythm.
I'm focusing. I'm feeling less shaky. Okay.
I shall sing along with you to join the tune.
My next roll
Oh God.
is a 1.
A critical failure!
I don't even think. Okay, well, with my bardic inspiration, I'm going to give you a +2, buddy. You are still. That's fucking atrocious.
We really don't get to choose the story we tell here, folks. We really don't.
You punched the worm.
This
I'm
worm.
like, what was that? What was that? What the fuck?
Yep, I mean, this makes sense. The spell, sleep in D&D only lasts for 1 minute. So I'll say what happens here is we watch as Kiwi,
God bless.
Lishad, and of course, Dr. Ziggy approach this worm as it is paused on the edge of the pit, looming over the body of Chalak, turning towards you, entranced. It seems almost asleep in this meditative, hypnotized state. Your allies approach. You watch as Lachad activates his suspensor pads, places them on the worm. They suck to it, and the worm doesn't move. You watch as Kivi approaches, activates them, places them in 2 other portions of the worm. The worm now is beginning to float gently in the air. Just as you're about to put the last pads on there, Ziggy, some spice gets in your nose.
Achoo!
Your sneeze causes you to jerk forward, and you press the suspensor pad right into the mouth of this creature. It goes and just immediately begins to writhe once more. And we are back in initiative. You were so close. Okay. That was your turn, Rousey. That was your turn, Ziggy. I'm going to say the smugglers have gone as well, and we have not at all dealt with the worm. So this little maker is, of course, naturally going to attack the person who shoved a piece of metal in its maw. Ziggy, get ready for an attack.
I don't know if I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. You rolled an 8. This worm rolled an 8 plus its bonus. That's going to be a 13 to hit. Does a 13 hit your AC?
I have 16 AC.
What? The worm
Who is this buff doctor?
shoots out at you, and you have an incredible amount of knowledge of your body. I think that you cowardly sort of duck out of the way, and you watch as the worm shoots past you and burrows down into the sand, disappearing. Doctor!
Guys, I'm so sorry.
I was supposed to ride the worm first.
Stay back, young lord. I'm still kind of trembling. I'm quite shaken up
Shaking.
by how much I just fucked up.
Doctor.
I just also slowly stopped playing and was like,
He goes, I thought you trusted these guys. What?
you know. And that's all I can say.
No, honestly, I get it. She looks over at Chalak. I really do get it. You see Lashad has grabbed the headless body of Chalak. It's like, bro, wake up! Wake up, bro! Bro,
God.
we were going to ride the worm together. You see the Lord goes, no, I was going to ride the worm. Doctor, what the hell was that?
Young Lord, we were so close to capturing the worm so that you could ride it, but now it's been agitated. It's in a dangerous state. You need to stay back, young Lord. Is your Mala pistol loaded, by the way? I'm kind of thinking that might come in handy.
Always
okay,
loaded. Always loaded, and the
ranged
safety's
weapon,
always
so
off.
please stay back from the sand pit. This worm could be anywhere. It's burrowed once again.
As you are talking, you do see flickers underneath the sand. Movement. It is now Razak's turn. Razak, what would you like to do?
Oh my god, I'm looking through my spells. I'm like, what do I have to put this... I can try sleep again, but that's...
You do see, I'll say this, there is, like the moment that the worm became active, it flicked in a way that knocked the suspensor pads off of it. Like they weren't perfectly sealed and on. So they are deactivated, a charge is used, you'll have to reattach them and try one more time. Or kill the worm.
I really don't want to kill the worm because...
That costs yourself a paycheck.
Yeah,
that's
botches
the whole
job.
reason we're here, yeah.
Are we assuming that the riddle that was on the wall is out of play at this point?
Okay, so with the riddle in mind, and I really, even just as a player, I'm hesitant to just use the sleep one a third time. It clearly didn't work. Clearly, some people are out here dropping the ball. So I'm going to, under my breath, I kind of go, oh my god, I hope this works. And I put my ballast back on my shoulders, and I, with empty hands, everything's sheathed and everything, I step onto the sand, and I fall to my knees.
Razak, what are you doing?
And I kind of put my hands out to tell everyone to calm as we're maybe hearing the skittering of the worm, and I bow my head, thinking about this poem, bow your head in reverence or lose it with the proud. And I, under my breath, I'm just like, oh my god, what the fuck am I doing? This sucks. Please be instructions. Please be instructions. God, be instructions.
You enter into this pit. You drop to your knees in as graceful a motion as you can with ease. You bow, sweeping an arm across the sand, almost imitating the wind. You hold there, calmly, patiently. You look up, you see the sand begin to move before you, that vibration that's oh so familiar to those who live on Arrakis. You suddenly see movement darting towards you faster and faster. Do you change anything?
Looking at my 31 health points, I remain and I stay, just breathing. And maybe hoping that, with my head down, my face isn't open for snacking.
Okay. You watch as this worm lunges from the sand towards you. Give me a performance check.
Okay. I rolled a 19 with a +9 is 28.
This worm pauses before you. Its maw flexing, twisting. Its teeth flex outward at you almost a little and inward. It cannot detect any additional movement. It feels as though some sort of wind had brushed against its dunes, as any worm would. It does not react. It merely watches you, paused in this moment. And I'll also say that as you are down there in this bow, your eyes trace up towards it, and you see also opposite you, on the other side of this ring, just at where the sand surface meets the stone of the ring, there is a switch to be pressed. Your mind thinks of the hidden exits that could emerge here. It appears that only through being in this vulnerable position, through revealing yourself to the worm and doing it with the grace and poise, would you be able to see this switch. And you know that because of the way you performed, the way you've presented yourself to this worm, it does not see you as a threat. It does not see you as a creature to attack. From an animal's standpoint, it just doesn't even know what it's looking at, for lack of a better word. It is reacting as an animal would. It just paused. Now, this gives everyone else a chance to react to this, and I will say that this is going to manifest as advantage on whatever you want to do. Now, you have successfully immobilized it. Ziggy, it is going to be your turn. What would you like to do?
Okay, I see what's taking place. I'm definitely terrified and afraid that I'm going to lose my new best friend, Rosic, who is just
Rossi!
A meter from the word Rossi. But I do also see that Rosic is looking at this button across the way. So I'm going to rely on my legendary stealth abilities, of which I have quite a healthy bonus of +6. I'm going to try and sneak around the pit, around the edge of the pit, and try and approach the button without alerting the worm.
Okay. Give me a stealth check.
I rolled a 4 on the die, and with my +6, that means 10 on the stealth check. Do I have advantage, though? Am I allowed to roll twice and try again?
You do have advantage. You can roll again, because this moment has been bought. Like, this creature is no longer in a threatening moment, so its awareness is fully focused on Rosic right now. You can roll one more time. I'll just tell you right now, you're trying to beat a 12, so you were close. You have to beat a 12 for the worm to not notice
I will roll again. All right, let's try it again. Come on, advantage. Come on. Okay, I rolled a 17 on the die, and with my +6, I'm clearing that 12 by a mile with a total of 23.
You creep from the young lord, leaving him as is. He still thinks he's being held back. You go over. You slide your hand into the sand with pause, with caution. You press this stone. The moment you press this stone, opposite all of you on the wall, you watch as stone slides open, revealing a passageway leading up and away from this strange crutch for this worm. This also does, you think, first draw the attention of the worm, but it seems paused in this moment. It seems really focused in on Razak. So, even though a loud noise and a rumbling was made, there's something about this interaction, the way that you're engaging with the worm, that it is distracted. So, door opened, you have found the exit, and you, in part, understand at least some of the, I'll just reveal to you, that obviously the only way to interact with the worm is with the same way you would interact with any wild animal. You can't just go in intensely. You have to show respect, you have to show caution, and you have to show and hold that you are like a non-threat to them, while also being something that they need to acknowledge. That being said, it's also important to be on the level to see the actual switch that would reveal the exit from here. So a double meaning there. You have unlocked the exit, and at this moment, the worm is not reacting. I'm going to say that Kiwi is again going to be giving you advantage on whatever the next roll is. So Razak, it is back to your turn. You hear the sobbing of Lishad as he cradles his best friend, the young lord whispering to himself, "All right, just another moment longer, and once they've got those suspenders on him, I'll leap upon his back. I'll ride this worm into the sunset." But you have control of the situation. What would you like to do?
Oh, God. I will, with the worm's attention and with the sort of silence of everything, I'm going to, again, slowly take my balisette off, and I'll actually put it partially onto the sand so that it's conducting the sound into the sands as well to kind of heighten its. And this is maybe how the advantage plays out. Is it kind of like gives it an extra oomph, and I'm going to use suggestion again, using the kind of harmonics of the balisette to keep the worm, to tell the worm to remain still. Again, I know that spoken language isn't going to register to a creature like this, but maybe some harmonics that kind of keep it still and keep it focused on me as I sort of like to Kiwi and to Ziggy, I'm sort of like looking at I glance at the suspensors, and I kind of like nod my head at the worm as I'm playing, and using suggestion to tell it to stay still and allow them to approach even as they're not me.
Okay, so the way this will work is, like normally in D&D, this is a spell, but we're saying that this is truly, honestly, the science of music, the vibrations and these sound waves reverberating against each other and the effect that can have on creatures. This is almost like using the voice, but through your instrument. Yeah. And as you do that, this creature is going to roll a wisdom saving throw. I will give it disadvantage for this because you have advantage, and the way I'll have this manifest is that the creature will roll with disadvantage.
Save DC is 14.
14. Okay, so this creature has to beat a 14. It does not add a lot to wisdom, but it adds something to wisdom. So, adds +2. Here we go. Rolling with disadvantage. With a natural 2 on the lower of the die. This worm holds in place, fully hypnotized by you as you continue to play this music. You think to your years training on Chiswick. You think of the path you had abandoned there, thinking you weren't good enough, thinking that you couldn't master the style prescribed to you. Here you are on this foreign world, finding your own style, and it works. You're seeing the power of this new style of music this new genre that you are writing, this worm song. As you begin to play, your allies approach. We're going to do that animal handling check one last time. Again, Ziggy, you have advantage on this.
2 natural ones.
It's going to be a DC 15.
I'm going to redeem myself. I got it. I got this. I'm
confident.
I believe
you. I believe in you.
Here we go. I rolled an 18 on animal handling with my +3 bonus is 21.
Ziggy, you approach with caution. You don't necessarily understand worm anatomy, but you understand yourself, you understand your body, you understand that before you were a bit shaken up. This was a very tense, terrifying endeavor that you've been on. If you just calm your nerves, you go inward, you focus on your training, you are able to slowly but surely attach your suspensor pad to this creature, and you guys watch as all of them activated now. It rises from the sand and floats there, just literally just slowly writhing in place. Seems to be seemingly hypnotized as long as you keep playing it.
Yeah. And as it rises, I stand and I keep playing the sounds of the desert, playing the sounds of sand and nature.
Kiwi looks to you, her bright brown eyes filled with wonder. I've never heard you play like that.
And I go, shh, 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 shh.
Sorry.
Me neither. Let's just get this out of here as I continue to kind of explore this new genre of music, this new type of song, playing the way that I imagine the wind sounds as it pushes the reeds and the sounds of Muad'Dib moving through the sands.
You continue to play this beautiful worm song as Kiwi goes to the shad and grabs him and pulls him to his feet. Come on, you've got work to do. And them, with you leading and playing, begin to guide the worm by essentially hands on the suspensors and not on the worm itself, kind of just guiding it towards that exit. The young lord crosses his arms. This is so unfair. I wanted to ride the worm. Are we going to ride it? Are they bringing it outside for us to ride? Or what's going on?
Young lord. Shh. Shut the fuck up. You're going to disturb... Shut the fuck up.
Doctor!
You're going to disturb the worm.
Doctor, you forget yourself.
Razak's playing.
You forget yourself.
I need you to fucking lock in, kid. All right?
Give me an intimidation check with advantage.
I've had enough. This adventure has broken me.
Sook training who? This is why they don't. That's why you got to pay for that tier 2. That's why you got to pay for that tier
Always
2,
pay
so they
for
don't
that
lose
Tier
their
1
cool.
crashes out.
Okay. All right. I will admit, intimidation, I have a -1, so things are not looking great. I do have the advantage, I suppose. Okay. First roll is a 10. -1 equals 9. Second roll, let me try once again with intimidation, is a 6 -1, 5. So really the best I did there was a 9.
You stand up for yourself for the first time since joining House Bourget. You have taken so much abuse from this family. You are brutally and unfairly underpaid. This is the most toxic work environment that you could possibly be in. Your boss is always drinking. This is not healthy. You've had enough, and you let him have it. And he looks at you and goes, "You're fired," and walks beyond you after the worm, leaving you there.
In the moment, I'm shocked. I'll need some time to process this, but I have just lost my employment, and it doesn't sound like I'm getting severance.
And it doesn't seem like I'm getting severance. As he marches off, you think of all of the times that you've spent with this young lord.
Attack him.
We see a montage of all of these moments, I will
Lord.
remember you, and it's just constant abuse, him shouting at you, you giving him potions to try, him vomiting on your shoes, it's just a montage of the worst best friend you ever had in college and the way they treated you.
Yep.
And you watch him walk off after this crew, and Ra's you indeed see this interaction, though you're playing from the archway as they guide the worm through.
Yeah. So as the Lord maybe gets closer, I kind of, as I continue to play, I go, Lord.
Yes, by the way, you've been promoted. How are you at doctoring?
Oh, not great, but listen, I need you to make a choice right now. Do you want to ride the worm, or do you want spice wine or spice beer? Both.
Oh, God. A choice.
I know it's hard.
This is the most difficult thing I've ever been asked.
I'm really betting on one particular answer.
Roll a persuasion check, and you tell me, depending on how high you roll, you tell me what you think you want him to choose.
Okay. I rolled 11. I have a +4 on persuasion, so that's 15.
15 will do it.
And I want him to, so as I give him the options, do you want to ride the worm, or do you want spice wine and spice beer? Oh, does that sound good? Does that sound good, Lord? Some spice. They probably also have spice whiskey.
Rozzy, you dog. I knew I brought you under my employ for a reason. One should always drink before they ride. So I choose the spice wine, or beer, or whiskey.
Well chosen, sir. Very wise indeed. I knew you're a fine lord.
Future Duke of this world. Know your
Future
place.
Duke of this world, probably.
Probably.
And then
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
You lead the way. You are now top tier. You are now in the running for Employee of the Month. Many of my employees died in a crash recently, so it's a little bit of a thin herd. But you're proving yourself to be one of my best.
Clearly, you're really torn up about losing all those men. I really appreciate the opportunity to win.
I missed
that role.
guard number 4. Guard number 5 was so funny, would always refill my wine.
Did you call him Fivey? For
You
Fivey?
know it. Rozzy, you are on it today. See that, Ziggy? That is how you respond to your lord.
Okay.
I am watching
Voice
this entire
echoing
interaction
throughout
as a recently unemployed doctor. I'm watching this, kind of annoyed, but I also catch Razik's eye and I give him a nod of camaraderie because he gets it.
Can I mouth to him? I'm going to quit in like 2 minutes.
Thumbs up. I give a subtle thumbs up.
You follow after Kivi and Lishad as they guide this suspended worm through the tunnels of this temple. The young lord babbling on about how excited he is to imbibe in all of the spice beverages. As you, Razak, look back to Ziggy, your new friend, and continue to play this worm song, guiding you out. And that's where we'll end this chapter today.
Wow.
Man, I love a critical failure on a suspense or attachment.
That
Incredible moment.
guys, that could have gone so bad if you kept failing. It's like the more you fail, the more likely a worm's about to eat your head. So
Yeah.
fantastic work.
I was getting real stressed there because clearly I was like, okay, like we captured this worm. We're going to get to the end of the story. Lovely. I just need to roll correctly. And it
All I
just-
need to do is roll well. So easy. You guys did fantastic.
That was
Thank you
super
for this. This was
Oh
incredible.
my gosh.
Yeah.
No, it was so much fun. Thank you. And I think, as we kind of look at I think this is the hard part of all of this. It's so much fun. And I'm looking at my spells and I'm like, oh, there's some shit I could have done too.
Yeah.
That
Classic
we didn't
dilemma,
even
yeah.
get to.
Totally.
I have a Chris knife now. I have a legendary weapon now. Like there's so much to do. It's like, well, okay, we'll call it there for now. Heavy for now. Yeah.
Okay, well, before we let you go, folks, as always, we have a couple of reminders here on Gom Jabbar on how to stay in touch with us and support the show. Number 1, the 2 best ways to support the show. Become a patron at patreon.com/GomJabbar. You get ad-free episodes, bonus content, and a bunch of other goodies over there. The other great way to support us is to check out our Dune-themed swag on our merch store, gomjabarshop.com. Both of those links will be in the show notes below.
Plus, we love to hear from you. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback about this new type of episode, we are obviously having so much fun
Truly.
with this sort of thing, and very easily could see doing a lot more of it if you all want to hear that, but let us know. We won't know until you tell us. And hey, if you think that we're nearly there, but there's like just a couple of adjustments to make it even better, again, let us know. gomjabarpodcast@gmail.com. We are all ears. And that anatomically, 1,000% ears. Top to bottom. What's at the top of the head? Ears. Bottom of the feet? Ears. So let us know. gomjabarpodcast@gmail.com. Give us your notes, whatever. And if you just want to say hi and that you like the show, we accept that too. The sweet messages make our days even better.
Indeed. All right, Leo, for old time's sake, shall we roll for outro?
I'll roll for outro. Let's
do
see.
it.
Okay. D20 roll.
Uh-huh.
I got a 9. What'd you get? A 7?
Oh, my God. I got a 7.
Not good. Not great.
Not
Single
good.
digits on the outro. So then you're like, okay, goodbye. Oh, man.
What show is
See
this?
you on the silver path.
See you. Fuck.
God damn it.
This has been Jom Gabuff. Oh, no.
Jom Gabar is crazy. That goes hard.
Well, friends, there is no real ending. It's just the place where you stop the recording. But this podcast is always one step beyond logic, so help spread the word of Muad'Dib and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And be sure to check out the other shows on the Lore Party Podcast Network on loreparty.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at lore_party. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, whoever controls the podcast controls the universe. We'll see you on the Golden Path.